going into technology, what areas of hardware, data management, and most importantly, security are you worried about? Or that you think that your school, is not ready for as far as infrastructure? Can it support, the bandwidth? Can it support this? Do you have the software in place? You know, the FBI just sent out notice about K-12 security of information because hackers are like, hey, they're vulnerable. Is your school ready?
No, no, no. I know we're not ready. So, we find it interesting when the internet goes down, or when the databases at central office shut down, or when the email shuts down. So we are definitely not ready for the demand. I think that's probably a huge concern that I have. Making sure that, again, these antiquated buildings are keeping up with the times to match the internet bandwidth, and to make sure that the collection of information is secure but also available on a consistent basis with the high demand around the entire city. So I'm very concerned about that.
Obviously, this is my wheelhouse. And some of the privacy concerns I mentioned before, one of the things that drove me crazy was seeing these teachers being like, look at my class, and they like post these screenshots of their Zoom classes on social media, and they're it's like, really, like, what are you doing? And then also, like, we're in the process of like the legal counsel around recording and storing of these recordings and where they live, and parents opting in or opting out, and those kinds of things. And then even just the when we start to use different tools, third-party access to data. So sure, we might be Google Apps, well, whatever they call it now, G Suite. But when we start using different tools, you're giving permission to these tools to access student data. We just had there's a big infrastructure project just happened at the school I moved into, and they discovered like dozens of just open ports on the network where like anybody could just right and come on in. The other thing that I think about is when we use different tools in the classroom, are they FERPA? There's no such thing as being FERPA compliant, but are they, did they sign a student privacy pledge? What are they doing with the data that we're signing up our kids for? The other thing, in the district and in schools in general, if you get E-rate funding, you have a content filter. But when kids are at home, there's no content filter. Thinking about in the district, they handed out 80,000 Chromebooks that were not managed. They are not enrolled in any district system, and it's up to the schools now. Part of my job was going to be to enroll machines in the fall that have been given out. So then that means that you also, these kids, kids can log in with their personal accounts, so that when you're at home, there's less, and I hate to say control, but like just, you worry when kids are, especially when they're under 13 for COPPA, SEPA, all that stuff. So that's what's been on my mind.
Just making sure there's a backup plan, because, like Richard said, the internet goes down, email goes down, and teachers forget what to do or don't know what to do. So just thinking about, that's the reality, and thinking about what the backup plan would be if that were to occur. I think that we can handle the bandwidth, but I don't know for sure because we haven't tried it, right? So I just need to make sure that we have a plan in place for in case that something goes wrong. So to answer your question, I'm not really sure. I hope so, but making sure that we have a plan B just in case.
400 laptops with a sheet of paper and a prayer. Hopefully that the students and the families bring the technology back. But I'm going to be honest, I'm concerned. I was a one-to-one school, and I gave away 4 laptops. They even have to be parents. Like, just somebody sends them with an ID and they can go. So that's my concern.
I find as though the whole concept of digital citizenship, you kind of have to approach it for teachers, and how tech savvy are they? How willing are they to kind of step out of their comfort zone of what took place in the classroom and still deliver that quality content remotely? But then for students, what I was battling with as a middle school teacher is plagiarism. So even if you're watching their activity on their school devices, who knows what iPhone or other tech tool they have in front of them. And then I also had students who would drop in on my help sessions and say, oh, well, my mom says I have to wait until she gets home because we're going to do it together. And it's kind of like, how do you still measure the skill set of your individual students when some of them either aren't having any help at home, they're unfamiliar with the tech, they're used to having the additional one-on-one support, and now they're lacking that. And then the helicopter parents who are kind of walking them through everything to guarantee that they're quote unquote successful.
My one concern, the only thing I struggled with during remote learning was work. When students submit work, I had nowhere to put them. A lot of students were taking pictures of the work and sending it to my email. So I'm like, where can I put it at? Like, and then when it's time to grade the papers, like, it was confusing. So I think we need a system for that when it comes to that, like submitting work.
Absolutely. So thank you, everyone. Remember, we're your partners in education, EduConfident, and CTI Tech Services.